Kindhearted food vendors provide hot meals for express train incident affectees free of charge. The opening of Tzu House of Compassion-Likas took place in Sabah, Malaysia. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. On the third day after the Puyuma Express train accident, more than 40 morticians went to the Ilan funeral home to conduct cosmetic procedures for the deceased passengers. Among the morticians, one of them used to be in a gang. After becoming a mortician 8 years ago, he often witnessed life's impermanence. The experience has changed his outlook on life. The morticians have given the deceased passenger Chen Ruijie's mother the biggest support. This terrible accident has claimed the life of her 12-year-old son. On Facebook, Ruijie wrote that his dream is to become a judo athlete. It has become a dream that cannot be fulfilled.
Some parts of Ruijie's flesh and bone from his shoulder are missing, but they have been found. We have to wait for the DNA test results. After the prosecutor and forensic medical examiner tells us the results, we can then conduct the reconstruction.
Ruijie likes other people's encouragement. He is a great kid. I am grateful that his mother has told me about this. Later, when I go inside to accompany Ruijie, I will tell him, "You are great, stay strong."
After several hours of cosmetic procedures, the bodies of the deceased are carried onto ambulances. The morticians line up to take a bow as the ambulance takes off.
If their families are near us, we will try to hold back the tears. Earlier, when the families left, some of us teared up.
Chen Xiujiang joined the team of morticians 8 years ago. With tattoos on his arms, he had come into contact with gangs since junior high school. Before he turned 30, he had been in and out of jail 6 times already. Now that he has become a mortician, he often witnessed life's impermanence and teared up several times.
We don't know whether tomorrow or impermanence will come first. I do not want to have regrets when I leave this world. Neither do I want the people around me to have regrets.
City volunteers also accompany the families of the deceased.
After 5 or 6 of them have been applied cosmetics and returned home, we will have accomplished our mission.
From providing hot food to comforting the families of the deceased, the volunteers have done their best to provide the needed assistance. Also, in the aftermath of the express train incident, city volunteers have mobilized 700 counts of volunteers to offer the much-needed help. Among these volunteers, some of them have taken time off work to help the injured passengers.
看到救护车一步一步一直转一直转，我们那时候心很纠结哈，怎么办？我怎么帮到他们？
Learning of the news of the incident through phone calls and line messages, in 2 hours, city volunteers gathered at different hospitals. Respecting the medical professionals, they quietly stood on the sides.
The social worker said, "Go and comfort the passengers whose families have not arrived here yet." My heart went out to them because they felt extreme pain, but they did not know where it was located. We were there ready to offer help.
City volunteer Lin Chunhua regretted that she could not be there for the injured passengers when the accident took place. Therefore, she took a day off work on Monday, ready to deliver her best wishes to the affected survivors.
The injured passengers are like our family members. Dharma Master Haiyan often says that when people are suffering, we should feel their pain. I felt worried for them. Therefore, on Monday, my husband and I left home at around 6 a.m. to physically care for them.
The other volunteer, Lin Qiaozhen, is a restaurant owner. As the restaurant is going through a transitional period of selling vegetarian food, she has been extremely busy with work. Despite that, she took time off work to help the incident survivors.
I kept thinking about those injured passengers and could not focus on work. I kept asking myself how I can contribute to help them.
Although these volunteers said that they were only fulfilling their duties as they served affected passengers, their selfless love has deeply touched those around them. In a related story, while the rescue teams work at the front lines to help the train incident passengers, there are also food vendors who serve selflessly. Let's meet some of these individuals.
是说开车不方便，骑摩托车没办法打，所以说我这趟都机动。
This couple coordinate disaster relief for train accident-affected families, with one being in charge of driving and one being the contact person. In order to quickly deliver hot meals and lunch boxes to their accident site, Tzu Chi volunteers have coordinated with many vendors and received many kind responses.
能力付出的时候就要多付出。
现在菜都还没进去。
When the vegetable vendor, Mr. Cho, received the phone call on Monday, the market was closed. He immediately checked his fridge and gave out all the vegetables in his storage.
Instead of selling these items, if I can deliver them to people in need, that's more meaningful. I'm just doing what I can do.
The sponge store owner and his family have been busy making breakfast for affected families from 11 p.m. till 5 a.m. in the next morning.
Of course, we must seize the opportunity to help. We woke up to work as soon as we received the volunteers' call.
We don't usually wake up this early, but the quantity is large, so we must start working early. It's a bit stressful because these are for disaster relief.
Mrs. Chen can't hold back her tears when talking about the eagerness to help. Tzu Chi volunteers Lai Su-zhen was deeply touched by their dedication.
It was in such a hurry that they needed to organize everything. I was very moved because the owner told me that as soon as I called, he knew that he must try his best to deliver the food because it is for people in the disaster area.
In time of the disaster, the selfless heroes' devotions are the most precious.
The express train accident has unfortunately taken 18 lives. These included 5 teachers and students from the Beinan Junior High School in Taidong and 8 people from the Dong family. Their remains have been transported back to Taidong for the funeral service. Taidong Tzu Chi volunteers have been accompanying the family members of the deceased at a funeral home, hoping to comfort them.
The Puyuma Express train accident severely impacted Dong Jingxin's family as 8 members died. At noon on October 23rd, their bodies were transported from Yilan to a funeral home in Taidong. Family and friends were all experiencing deep grief.
Both of the parents are working in Taipei because they have a house loan to pay off. They leave their children to grandparents in Taidong. After the wedding banquet, the grandparents took the children back to Taidong, and the parents stayed in Taipei.
The first body being transported back to Taidong is Chen Yuzhen, a student from Beinan Junior High School. Her grandparents came to see her for the very last time. Chen Yuzhen was an outstanding student and was representing the school on an overseas tour. Unfortunately, she went on a train which was involved in a deadly accident on her way back home.
I'm in deep sorrow because she left all of a sudden. She was a very good student and a very sweet person.
Tzu Chi volunteers and Dharma masters from Jingsi Abode accompanied the family members and chanted for the deceased so that they can relieve some of their grief.
Even though she's only been in this life for 14 years, she'll be back for the next life and will definitely be better.
Zhu Yongzhao's family is also heartbroken. His family members looked for the items he left, hoping to seize everything that can memorize him.
It's a blessing to rest in heaven.
The accident has taken away 18 lives, and most of them are citizens of Taidong County. The county government has promised to provide assistance to the families of the deceased, hoping that the deceased can rest in peace and the families can be well taken care of.
Nearly a month after the devastating earthquake and tsunami struck Palu, Indonesia, local residents continue to live in tent areas. Soon will be the raining season, and temperatures can be quite cold at night. Therefore, blankets from Taiwan will be quite important for these survivors.
Tzu Chi volunteers present blankets with both hands outstretched. Earthquake survivors are delighted to receive these blankets made from recycled bottles from Taiwan. For the people of Palu, it's a very important necessity.
We are all very healthy right now, but when night comes, it can get quite cold, and in the afternoon, it is hot. When it rains, the tents will leak.
It's very important as the weather is getting colder and colder. Thank you for your assistance.
It's been nearly a month after the devastating earthquake. Tzu Chi volunteers are continuing to provide hot food and supplies as the rainy season is about to arrive. Affected residents need materials to keep away the cold. Tzu Chi volunteers distributed blankets to them, immediately helping some 253 households.
Our long-awaited blankets finally arrived. They were sent from Haiyan, Taiwan. Today we are distributing them into your village. Nearly 300 households were able to receive these blankets.
Each person was able to receive a blanket, with some using them as shawls, worn over their shoulders, and others using them for sleeping to help them through these cold nights.
Residents in the rural areas in Malaysia are often missing important medical treatments due to lack of accommodation and traffic delays. Therefore, Tzu Chi established the Tzu Chi House of Compassion in collaboration with local governments to help the impoverished population. The grand opening of the Tzu Chi House of Compassion-Likas recently took place in Sabah.
The opening ceremony of the Tzu Chi House of Compassion in Sabah, Malaysia, recently took place. Its combination of medical care and accommodations opened a brand new chapter for rural area medical services.
The patients travel all the way out here, plus they're impoverished. They have nowhere to stay. So these types of centers are really great. What you guys are doing is really good. It can really help these patients in their time of need. Not only will they have a place to live, but going for treatments has also been made simpler. It's very convenient for them.
We hope to bring them some joy, some happiness. We would like them to temporarily forget about the suffering of their illnesses. We want them to not feel so lonely in their battles each day.
Tzu Chi House of Compassion in Likas has a real peaceful and serene feel to it. Having a place to settle into really takes the stress off of the person.
In order to take care of her mother, who gets her daily nutrition through the nasogastric tube, 20-year-old Arnie had to temporarily drop out of school. She's now living in the House of Compassion with her mother.
Itu sebabnya kami dihantar ke hospital Likas.
The big hospital in Kanagao doesn't even have electrotherapy or chemotherapy. This was why we came to Likas Hospital in the first place. We don't have any relatives or friends that live nearby, so we're very grateful to Tzu Chi for providing us a place to stay.
The cooperation between the government and civil society has supplemented the shortage of medical services for rural areas.
It's already been 5 years since Typhoon Haiyan made its way through the Philippines. Tzu Chi was one of the first on scene for disaster relief back in 2013. Now back to Tacloban, Tzu Chi has launched a photo exhibition to commemorate the 5th anniversary of the disaster.
The photos are stills, but the memories move. Time has covered the scars and carries on the power of life.
After the typhoon, with the help of Tzu Chi, we were able to stand on our own 2 feet again. Tzu Chi's influence on Tacloban is immense. They played a crucial role in helping the residents rebuild their lives from the bottom up.
If it wasn't for the help of Tzu Chi, we wouldn't be here today. After the typhoon, we lost our homes. We could only sleep in tents on the side of the road. The money I received from the Cash for Relief program helped me start a small restaurant. That was how I was able to start supporting my family on my own.
Peniscano, who came to the photo exhibition venue, was quite emotional. He is a cemetery operator and ended up burying free of charge 2,000 casualties from the disaster.
I realized that most of the victims were poor people who could not even afford a decent burial. At least there they were given a decent burial with dignity.
Through the years, due to acts of kindness, compassion, and great love, these hundreds of photos will forever tell the stories of those everlasting moments.
Philippine-born overseas Chinese citizen Liu Zihua, who's 60 years old, has worked in Taiwan for more than 30 years. He was able to bring his wife over, and the couple has suffered many setbacks, leading to visits by Tzu Chi volunteers. Previously, Liu studied in art schools in the Philippines, and now the couple's wish is to bring their only son to Taiwan.
This iris flower is elegant and representative of this artist's heart. At first glance, Mr. Liu is gentle and calm. When he was young, he studied at art school in the Philippines and has loved painting since his youth.
When I was a child, I started painting, and it made me very happy. I spent a lot of time painting.
He often concentrates on painting, and his Filipino-born wife is there to accompany him and also appreciates his work. More than 30 years ago, Mr. Liu went to work in Taiwan, and his wife followed him. Their only son stayed in his hometown with relatives looking after him. Many years ago, his wife had a stroke, and he himself has had operations. This has led the two to feel helpless in Taiwan, and their finances have also become a problem.
My wife suffered a stroke, so there was no way to work.
He never complained, and his wife has always been very quiet. They don't have anyone here in Taiwan. When we invite them to Tzu Chi activities, they always come.
In the past few years, Tzu Chi volunteers have become their closest family and friends. Because it's difficult to make a living in the Philippines, they hope that their son will have the opportunity to work in Taiwan and reunite with the family.
He hopes his son can come to Taiwan and the couple can grow old in Taiwan.
He puts all his hopes and dreams into his paintings, like these flowers whose color represents his beautiful heart.
In April of 2016, a massive earthquake struck Ecuador. Therefore, U.S. City volunteers traveled there to care for the affected residents. Recently, they went back again to recruit new local volunteers. Everyone responded enthusiastically upon seeing the familiar faces.
We know Ecuadorian volunteer has been established after the disaster 2016-17. Volunteers like us probably come maybe 2, maximum 3 times a year. But people here, they need chance to get absorbed, to learn more about the master's teaching. That's one of the main missions, the reason we're coming back for this trip.
I've always liked to help people, no matter when or how. I'm there to give them a hand.
They try very hard, want to help in the community, the people in their area who need help.
Every week we visit homes. We have a list of people that truly need help, which is why we do weekly home visits.
The citizens are very happy for the support you gave them when the school was flooded.
Ya los chicos están muy emocionados porque recuerdan la intervención de la Fundación Tzu Chi. Se emocionan que quieren tomarse fotos con todos ustedes, están agradecidos.
We learned there only rehab center for the senior, and the machine that were totally destroyed because of the flood. We will purchase entire new set of equipment to the rehab center. We will donate the machine to them.
Many people, not only in Santa Ana, but in the whole region, are going to use these services and machines for their rehabilitation. Tzu Chi leaves messages of love and makes us reconsider our behaviors toward others.
We want to show our local volunteers from now on, this mission will be representing of a new era.
People believe little by little. I did realize that people are much happier now.
Se sintió bien bonito al ver llegar a las personas que desde un principio estuvieron apoyándonos.
Me siento bien y me siento feliz con seguir apoyando, ayudando.
This is only the love from Tzu Chi. Today we are able to help you. Tomorrow you learn the spirits of Tzu Chi and you help others.
The 71-year-old Thailand City volunteer Ria Suthan is a former university associate professor. In 2010, she came in contact with Tzu Chi and was forever inspired by its missions and principles. After that, she has dedicated her life in spreading the spirit of Tzu Chi.
The children are all sitting quietly, calmly waiting for mealtime. In order to cultivate children's spirit of giving, Thailand's Prachataim School invited Tzu Chi volunteers to share and teach classes on humanistic culture, serving the underprivileged population and environmental protection concepts. Both teachers and students gained much knowledge.
If we sort all the recycled goods, it will help slow down global warming. This way, human beings will be able to keep on living.
I personally led the students to actively store recyclable goods. After about 2 weeks' time, you can noticeably see an improvement in the campus environment. This is mainly due to a drastic reduction in the amount of garbage present.
The collaboration was made possible by a Tzu Chi volunteer who has more than 30 years of teaching experience. Ever since becoming a commissioner in 2013, this has been one of her many ongoing projects.
The current education model usually emphasizes on learning knowledge and information. It focuses more on the teaching part, neglecting letting students absorb what is taught to them. There are no actual life experiences or hands-on learning. Therefore, in this aspect, we really need to learn from Tzu Chi.
The 71-year-old Rian Sridham was a former university associate professor. In 2010, she came into contact with Tzu Chi. Ever since then, she's been leading young people on the path of learning how to help others.
In fact, everyone's life is tremendously valuable. It's just that some people are still not awakened. So when we embark on the road of compassionate giving, that's where we find the value of life.
Through unconditional giving, that's where the value of life can be found. For Rian Sridham, this vow will be conducted till her last breath.
78-year-old city volunteer Chen Guoxiong in Taichung has been dedicated to recycling for over 30 years. As a truck driver, he often asks for recyclable goods from factory owners when delivering packages.
Chen Guoxiong is just as energetic as a young man. He can carry a huge load of cardboard all at once.
It's not heavy at all. I can even carry fertilizer that weighs 40 or 60 kilograms.
His profession is a truck driver, and he often collects recyclable items when delivering packages all around Taiwan.
When I deliver new items to the customer, I ask them what he's going to do with the old ones, and he had no idea. So I asked him if he would like to donate it to Tzu Chi, and he agreed.
He always loads his car with recycled goods, but when he first started doing this 30 years ago, there were times when his work was frustrated.
Many of his relatives and neighbors laugh at him and oppose him for doing recycling, but he insisted.
Dharma Master Zheng Yan and I have a deep connection, so I must continue to do recycling.
He's very dedicated. Many people told him to take a break because he's older now, but he continued.
Chen Guoxiong has persisted on the path of being a recycling volunteer for over 30 years, and age cannot stop him from continuing his life's mission.
To help the earthquake survivors in Indonesia, DaAi villagers in the Philippines and teachers and students at the Tzu Chi Academy in Toronto, Canada, mobilized to help. They have made donations as well as inspired people's compassion. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.